Off-screen, I've gotten a full crew together and also gotten them up to an appropriate level for the next part of the story, so all that's left is to make my way over to the west side of the map. Which, technically, I've already done, but let's pretend that diegetically I haven't actually gotten over there and I gotta make the full trek myself. So, who's in the party? Well, it's a very standard set of RPG characters. We got Cyrus the Mage, which you've seen before, Olberic the Warrior, 2 different types of weapons for breaking enemy defenses, as well as the ability to buff up his physical attack, physical defense, hit multiple times. Also, his boost ability is to increase his defense in battle, letting him be able to defend some of the party members, which is useful, but not super useful compared to some of the other characters. Ophelia the Cleric, who's able to heal everybody and also can cast light magic on foes. And then Tressa, who I guess is the wild card here. A merchant, she can buff up stuff by giving I don't know, the BP to characters. She can use money to do big attacks. I didn't really know who to have for the 4th character, but this is a pretty good mix of people as far as I'm concerned. As you can see, I can now challenge people due to Olberic if I really want to. Really, a lot of characters, I don't think it's entirely necessary to be fighting them because you don't really get too much from it. But some quests are only really completable by doing that, so, there's that whole thing. And yes, you do have to do that with Olberic alone, which can be kind of difficult later on. Aside from that, and then they're just completely out of commission after you beat them up. You can do that to pretty much anyone. Guide characters with Ophelia to be able to use them in battle. I guess this guard here would probably give me some sort of defensive bonus by doing that. And then you can also just purchase stuff with Tressa. Which, nah, that's not worth it. But anyway, let's finally get out here. And I think, first off, before I do anything else, there was that one area above this one that I was trying to get to, but I was a little bit too low level to make my way into before. Shouldn't be as much of a problem now. Because up here, what you get is actually a pretty big mechanic in the game. Kind of important to making real progress eventually. Took me quite a while to find this the first time I was playing the game, but now that I know where it is. Just up in Noble Court Flats, over to the right. I can beat up this guy. I think that actually will solve a quest, but I'm not going to. Right in here. Shrine of the Sage. Now you might recognize that is, Cyrus is a sage. And yes, that is very much meaningful, because when you go in here and look at the pedestal, yep, that's me. An Octopath one, if you will. I think that each one of the characters that represents these shrines is in fact important in the lore, but I only really remember recognizing one of them that people talked about. Finally, astrology. Or astronomy. Nah, it's probably astrology given this game. Unlock Scholar as a secondary job, and although I have actually already done that, let's just see exactly what that looks like right now. So let's say Tressa. Tressa can now become a mage, and that includes all of the same abilities that Cyrus has, basically. That I got the full-on, different elemental attacks, as well as the ability to analyze. It's pretty nice. It's a very classic type of job system, and that's what I've been getting the JP points for the entire time. And then pretty much what I can do is I can go right in here and start learning them, which I will, because, why not? As you can see, it increases in skill points every single time you learn one of these, but that's not that big of a deal for right now. Get a whole bunch of these for the time being, just to be able to have it work well for me later on. And then once you get all of the skills, you open up kind of the super ability, which is something very, very powerful. Ophelia as the cleric actually gets one of the best of the divine abilities in the entire game, being able to have you cast a whatever skill you're using in battle a second time, which is extremely powerful. Get like 4 hits of fire in on an enemy, for example, with Cyrus. But then it's like you also get a bunch of support skills. These support skills are fairly useful in different ways, especially, oh, let's say this one decreases random encounters for, let's call that the LP skill, so that I don't have to keep editing those out here. And these you can actually equip even if your character is not of the same job. You lose out on the skills if you switch jobs. You do get to keep all like the JP that you spent doing that, you know, if you switch back to them eventually. But then it's like you can still at least keep this. So for example, Ophelia still has a few of the only other job that I was able to find at this point, the thief job, despite not being a thief at that time. Of course, let's give her that one again. All right, and then these things are just scattered all about the entire overworld map. You can find them for every one of the characters, and 4 that no characters have. That's right, special class jobs. Very, very powerful class jobs, guarded by a very, very powerful boss. Oh man, I have actually gotten all of them. If you were looking closely at my save files when I was showing them in the last episode, you might have noticed that some of the characters were dressed in a very unique way. Because the funny thing is, although it doesn't really appear on the overworld like this, you can see on the right side that like Tressa is dressed up sort of like how Cyrus is. Ophelia is dressed up, well, like Therian, who I believe is the thief of the game, but he's not in the party right now. So he's got kind of a little bit of a purple cloak there in the same way that Ophelia does, and so on and so forth. But yeah, of course, it's just like with the secret ones. The secret ones have their own dresses too. Sometimes nice, fun, silly hats, which I like as well. Okay, so going around on the overworld, like I said, you can see Tressa's other ability there. She just finds money randomly when you go into zones. I don't know. Does Ophelia have anything else that she does that's like special aside from doing the guiding? Like usually characters have some sort of other secondary ability that is very useful in some way, but I can't remember if she does. Maybe it's just like it's easier to guide characters in general.
There is no choice.
Who knows? All right, hey, let's see the stuff when I have like the full crew out here. Like I said, some very powerful sort of weapons right now. Although since I turned off the job there for the start of this video, I think she's equipped with like literally your starter worst version of the knife possible in the entire game. So that's not great. And sword, because as a cleric you only get like the staff. But whatever, it's fine. Look, everything here is weak to fire. This should be easy enough regardless. Yeah, that's a pretty weak hit. Good if you would compare it to, say, the first episode and some of the damage I was doing there, but no, I'm much more powerful now. Trust me. See? Look at that. Just clear cut right through everything. Now, needless to say that even if you do equip up a job, it's just like innate abilities. For example, Cyrus's ability to find out one of the all the bonuses. Cool. Cyrus's innate ability at the start of battle to find out at least one weakness of each one of the enemies. It's like that does not carry over. You gotta have the character in there for that to count. Like I said, some of them are more powerful than others. Getting like an extra 200 buckaroonies occasionally is not that good, but hey, it still can add up over time. No, like there are better ones, trust me. So yeah, you just kind of go through like a area here, and then you can stop off, say hi to all the locals, refresh on provisions, etc., and so on. Here's a person with a side quest if I so felt like it, or I could beat them up. Let's beat them up. Yep. It makes a lot more sense when you're using the character who knows provoke, because you know then it doesn't look like you're just kind of randomly getting just people on the street to fight you for no reason. But here we are. Cross strike, the most powerful hit that I have for right now without the divine skill. Warrior, pretty powerful. Kind of loses effectiveness later in the game, though, because, you know, magic can easily hit every single one of the characters. That's kind of how... In fact, can I... Speaking of which, can I get, like, the most powerful version of that attack? Nah, not quite. 5,000 is quite a few JP here. Oh, well. But, yeah, it's, later on, yeah, the ability to only hit one enemy with, like, physical attacks, and I feel like it's just harder to do as much damage as a mage. It's funny because that is very much the classic sort of like Dungeons and Dragons logic as well. It's a very classic type of game. Ooh, that's like the special metal slime type of character. I will definitely not be able to beat them, but I'll try. Do I not have anything that can do whatever? Look, here's the thing. Lightning blast. Lightning blast. There we go. Hey, I actually got him. Neat. Should give me at least a little bit extra stuff going on here. Yeah, like 1,000 EXP. Look at the look at the EXP meters go there. Man, you're almost never able to beat those things before they run away because they just do not take very much damage from anything. You gotta like way out level them for it to actually be something you can do. The only reason I was even able to figure out the weaknesses of that one in particular was because, well, Cyrus has the ability to get one no, it's not over there. To get one weakness shown at the start of battle. So even if they run away, you get one weakness shown. Very hard to hit too. It's really annoying. Oh god, I'm so glad I have evasive maneuvers on, otherwise it would be so... Oh, wait, I went way too far. Otherwise it would be much longer in terms of actual movement around here. So, this biome, of course. You can also just look at the signs too, if I felt like it. Cobblestone is where I found Ulbrich. And if I go back there, a lot of people are going to have something to say about, well, how Ulbrich is doing. Like, hey, dude. But yeah, we're currently in the mountain biome, going into the sand biome, and then over into the cliffside biome. Yeah, how's that different from the mountain biome? It's more orange and brown. Like, that's where they mine stuff. This place is just, you know, on like kind of a large rocky area. This is all I got. Okay, merchant skills do have the wind ability, which, considering it's like these are some pretty weak characters, I can probably just blast them away for right now. And that's going to be true for a lot of stuff. This is why having, you know, the this is why having the fast travel as kind of a standard thing in the game is really nice. And then it just immediately turns into sands. When you actually see me go through these areas, like physically, it is kind of silly in that way, isn't it? Whatever, here's the thing. Once again, if they didn't want me to grind to make this easier video-wise, they shouldn't have let me do that. Hey. A lot of other villages that I could be hitting up here, seeing a lot of other characters that I could be getting on the team. Alphen, actually, later on, is one of the standard parts of my four-party member party, I guess you could say, because his innate ability to brew up to combine items basically in the same way that Riku does in Final Fantasy X. I know, Final Fantasy X is just like, that's the first thing that I think of. Yeah, well, it's a good example. You can combine items in there, and they're actually like really powerful. So he's very good even late into the game. For example, one of the reasons why I really liked having Tressa was the whole donate BP ability to give extra boost points to allies. Alphen, by using items, which yeah, I guess I technically limited, it's like can do that for the entire party. And in fact, even more than just one, although you can't boost that ability. That's what makes it a little bit weaker too. Domination bonuses, untouched, and break. all coming fast and furious right now. Not that it really matters. It's like I need a lot more experience than this to actually get some levels. Like I said before, usually what I do in this series is, in a series like this, is just edit out a whole bunch of the battles, but, you know, I just decide, it's like, hey, let's keep them in here because I really like a lot of the sprite work on this stuff. These enemies look pretty cool. It is a very unique art style, like I was saying. Got like sort of low poly 3D, high quality textures on them. And the bosses are all like super huge and detailed and stuff like that. It's worth taking a look at. Yeah, I told you, it's like more, well, brownish, I suppose, but orangey, kind of an orangey brown. Because this is where they mine stuff. I think like, oh, I don't have the, yeah, Quarry Crest, and this over here is called Overworld. Literally 1984. Anyway. Okay, this is a little bit more appropriate in terms of levels, but of course, it's supposed to be in the 20s or so for this upcoming area, which is why I did exactly that. Also, here is the Thief Shrine that I got the Thief class from, but not really relevant now that I've gotten it. There's Therian's special ability to unlock these super chests, which, I'll be honest, by the time that I finished like a lot of the characters' stories in the game, I maybe opened up like 3 of those. It is, yeah, you know, it's hard. It's annoying to have to go get out a character specifically to open a chest, and the chests are, I mean, they can contain some good stuff, but it's never anything that is like game changing. Let's say that. I do. Okay, that guy's actually really strong. Fine. Some of these random people are extremely powerful for whatever reason. I have no idea why that is. But anyway, I was saying last time that if you've already been in a place and you said, I don't want to do the story right now, you gotta go back to the tavern, and that is exactly what I'm going to do. You're right back into the Cyrus storyline. Gotta find that book. Bill was saying last time that apparently a lot of people started out with Cyrus, which, I don't know, it's, you know, I just can't believe that a lot of people were here like, yeah, oh, I think I chose the wrong one. Whoops. Oh, hey, look, I accidentally went back to the title and then reloaded the autosave here. I think I might have been able to just go back to the tavern and re-choose Cyrus storyline, but, you know. Please tell me you didn't start at the start of the... Well, maybe it's as easy as... Okay, good. you know. Look, there's 2 different characters here. They got 2 different things going on. But yeah, I wouldn't have thought that so many people were interested in... Gotta find that book. The story so far, don't worry, you all know about this, but this is a lot more useful in normal gameplay when you can come back here after a long time and not really remember what might have been going on in the storyline. It's a very free-form game in that way. That's like a dense bush rather than just a regular tree type of storyline that I was talking about before. After all, you're supposed to be like level 22 to get in here, and you start out at level 1. The other characters you find are suggested level 12 or so. So that means that you're expected to do a lot of these character storylines before you end up doing the chapter 2 for pretty much anybody. But as I said, I had a way that I knew I wanted to do the series. And that is 1 character at a time. And I still don't know if I'm going to do more than 1 character. I think that maybe I'm just going to like leave it at Cyrus and be like, hey, it's good. You get it. Go play the game yourself. Octopath Traveler is pretty good. I don't know. I like it. Still have kind of that issue where I think, you know, some of the stories are kind of boring. Like, hey, but you know me. I've never been into story in video games for the most part. Oh my god, what is this, Final Fantasy IX again? But you did! So I do still really like the idea of... I don't know, I find it... I just find it... it's so common that every single story in a game like this especially is about, you know, grand adventure to save the world, blah, 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 that I do like the idea of, hey, it's just Cyrus. He wants to go find this book. It makes it more... It's just original in that way alone. Of course, it's still in, like, pseudo-medieval swords and sorcery times and everything like that, but it's at least, you know, it's at least somewhat of a different take. All right. Then, yes, there is travel banter, like I was saying last time. It does have...
If you'll forgive me.
When I said that it was similar... When I said that it was similar to the skits in the Tales of series, I was not kidding. They got this entire thing going on. Last time I saw... This sort of setup was almost the exact same as the like, helper unit conversations in Nier Automata, based on whoever you have in your party at the time, because otherwise you don't have to have Ophelia in the party. It could be any number of other characters. Of course, since I haven't really seen Chapter 1 of Ophelia, you don't really know as much about her. All right. As always, Minimap provides the easiest way to do a lot of this stuff. And I could just continue to beat up literally everybody in town that I find, but only if they're under, like, 3 pips of power. But hey, you can already see that I've beaten up a lot of people. There's no reason to do this. There's absolutely no reason to do this. In fact, it's really kind of shameful from Ulbrich to be picking fights with people, to be punching down so readily and enthusiastically. But at the same time, I do kind of find it pretty funny. Yeah, they're out of commission for actually quite a while. So make sure you want to beat them up and you don't have anything else to do with them first.
Anyhow, here we are.
Yes, I'll be right there.
It's been some time, Odette.
You're still here. I guess I'm not suffering from fatigue-induced hallucinations after all.
It's me, Odette, in the flesh. Good to see you as hale and hearty as ever.
And you're as insufferable as ever, no doubt. What are you waiting for? Come in already.
Don't mind if I do. How did I know that would be your reaction?
We were practically joined at the hip back in the day. Just watching you go about was fun in and of itself. I always had a hunch you'd end up in trouble with the ladies, but to think it would happen with the princess of all people. Somehow, you've managed to exceed even my wildest expectations.
By expelling me, they hope to protect Her Highness's good name. Needless to say, there's no truth in any of this.
Oh, of course. I'm sure it's all as you say. Her Highness and this Therese are just your pupils. They have no romantic interest in you in the slightest. You're something else, Cyrus. But it's a relief to find your powers of observation are as keen as ever.
Huh?
Well, did you come all this way just to entertain me? If so, congratulations on a job well done.
Save your congratulations for another time. I've come in search of a certain tome. Are you perchance familiar with From the Far Reaches of Hell?
A cheery title if I've ever heard one. I can tell you that it's a compendium of ancient rites and rituals. Not that I've read it myself, of course.
I know that much. I was hoping you could tell me more.
Not much more. It touches upon necromancy, I believe.
Necromancy?
Necromancy. That said, as to what extent, I know little.
Is that so?
Give me a break.
Oh.
Yes, that means that, look, every single time you do one of these things, it's not just, hey, chatting, what's going on? You do have to go through, like, a mini dungeon, fight a boss. As you would expect with a game like this. They're not, like, super huge, multiple hour-long sort of affairs, especially with the evasive maneuvers, as you know. I did not expect Cyrus to have a secondary ability to learn like that. Though I suppose anybody technically can with the Scholar class. But I am very glad to see that anyway.
Naturally.
Yes. By some sort of necromancy-related things. This is the sort that you'd be able to find in a book of ancient rites that could potentially summon an evil god. I actually don't know about that one. That might be related. I haven't gotten. I still have not done that sort of quest line yet. I mostly just ended after I got all of the super job classes. Ended up starting the series from there. Well, I have the ability to scrutinize things in the same, way as everybody else.
Great.
Needless to say, one of the other reasons why you need to be of an appropriate level is not just to fight whatever the boss is that you're supposed to for each one of these chapters, but also so that you can succeed at some of these checks too. For example, Therian has to steal from stuff, and his stealing goes up as he gets higher levels. The Olberic has to fight people, and if he's not of a good level, and you know, even if he's surrounded by like level 100 characters, if he's only level 1, can't really duel anybody.
I see.
There's good reason why they expect you to be going around to each one of the characters to do their storyline. You know, like you go through, you do everybody's chapter 1, you do everybody's chapter 2. It's up to chapter 4, by the way. And although you technically don't need to do that, even an achievement for just straight up playing the game with only one character, it's obviously the intended gameplay route if you don't want to be grinding forever. See, I told you, she's out of commission for a while.
Ah, yes.
Great. I see. That is a sort of interesting thing, considering that everybody else here seems to be living in like a very tiny house. You know, like maybe in some cases fairly hastily put up. Keep that in mind for later.
Now then.
So, near the inn. I don't know if you noticed this, but to the right of the inn, there's a very obvious thing there. At all hours of the day. Just go break down the boards and get in there already. Hidden. Well, in classic video game style, the second area I'm going into is sewers. It's a good thing that he made everybody get out of the center of town, including that one guy who was blocking the way into his house, of which I have stuff to steal in there. Come on. So that he could figure this out. Or maybe the idea is supposed to be that, you know, when Cyrus is thinking that the entire rest of the world, you know, melts around him, no other people exist. Oh, or maybe that is actually exactly what happened. Okay, I did not look at this conversation the first time. Wow. Oh, wow. Huh. Well, all right then. I suppose. I did not. I did not think that I was going to guess that so quickly. Anywho, let's get in there, baby. Danger level 24. I'm like, what, 29?
Aha.
So I think this one should be going just fine. Yeah, it's like, I don't know, with the amount of stonework and everything going on in here, with the gigantic cisterns of water, it feels like people should just have made their homes in the sewers. We're calling these the sewers, but it's like, I don't really know if this is where they're dumping their waste or something. Such an ornate set of structures underneath as large as the town itself. Especially with, like, you know, access to fresh water immediately in what is otherwise sort of a, I'm guessing, a dry canyon? I don't know. It's next to a desert. Sorta. It's just, you got everybody here trying to mine for ore in this town when it's like this place is around here. I said before that Orstera is a continent of many, 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 many ruins all over the place. Finding a place like this, with the braziers still lit and everything, is actually not even an uncommon sight. I got through there without even getting into a single battle. This looks normal.
Intriguing.
Exactly, Cyrus.
We hear.
It's to the point that I really wonder why, yeah, people aren't exploiting this a little bit more. Or at the very least, people aren't frequenting this place a little bit more than they actually are. I don't really think that you could set up a gigantic ritualistic circle in a giant room if there were at least some people around here.
Couldn't be. It couldn't be.
Even if it's not Final Fantasy, we can't get away from those crystals.
Preposterous!
That's right. Evil blood magic.
Why, I'll be... Oh!
And who might you be?
Just a scholar of no particular repute. I was passing through and could not help but notice these odd gemstones. Are they perhaps your work? And these strange glyphs, are they not runes of High Hornburgian?
Are they now?
The tomes of ancient Hornburg were lost long ago. No ordinary scholar would be privy to this knowledge. But how could any self-respecting academic perform such horrors?
Ho ho! Seems you're more of a scholar than you give yourself credit for.
They still live, yes? If you know what's best for you, you'll free them at once.
Well, since you asked so nicely, no, I think not. A shame. If only you hadn't come poking around in my secrets. I wouldn't have minded picking your brain. Now I'll have to settle for sucking your blood!
cannot fail.
And so he attempts to, but will not be able to. That said, I still have no idea exactly what each one of his weaknesses are, so, you know, either just experiment around or attempt to... Actually, with Ulbrich here, Armor Corrosive is probably a little bit more useful. Those buffs are actually quite large. Like, seriously, you get the increase in physical and like defense down, physical up is a lot more substantial than it might be in a lot of other games. 26,000, not too bad. Mostly physical attacks. Let's see if I... Oh, I didn't give her Analyze. Damn, if there is a... Maybe? No. Necromancy. Oh no! And yes, boss abilities to lock away some of the weaknesses is a pretty common thing in this game.
Well then.
Usually able to be taken, to be removed, you know, after you defeat some of the ads, but alright, that'll work. With Tressa and Cyrus having some sort of fire ability, this should be easy enough.
Great inferno to scorch the land.
That said, I still would like to, if possible, try and like get everybody's BP up a little bit more. Good damage, but not good enough.
Truly joy.
That said, maybe this will work.
I will cut you down.
Because the plan right now is that I'm going to... That's okay.
What's this now?
Because that only affects physical attacks. I just take them down already. They're vulnerable. That should probably...
The land.
No! Not quite. Alright. Heal is easy enough to do this. Yeah, blind only works on physical attacks, so like magic should be totally okay here. Alright, whatever. That's just...
To ashes with you.
Bam and bam. There we go. I do not know if he can do that multiple more times now, though. Just regular attack. Creepy laugh. Doing that much to me, too. Alright. Analyze. What's the last one? It is light, of course, because necromancy. Why wouldn't it be? Only had some of the divine skills out here that would be really useful. Oh. Alright, you know what? Let's get a donate out here because I'm not going to be able to hit weaknesses otherwise. Then I can get Ulbrich to hit like 3 times. That should be more effective than just about anything else. In the meantime, I do also have these elemental stones that are all pretty powerful. So, for example, 2,000 damage. It's 10% of his health just right there. Doubled if I'm able to get him.
Well then.
Doubled if I'm able to get him. There. Vulnerable first.
My turn now.
Which is why I'm just going to do that one more time.
Try this on for size.
So 30% of his health done in one go. As long as I just keep using more of the L soul stones. This works on all enemies. It's like these things are quite powerful. Good for early game, obviously not as good when enemies start having like 200,000
Well
health.
then.
And you're able to deal 20,000 health in a single hit.
Take this.
And there we go.
The flame guides us true.
Find them all over the place, so worked out quite well for me. And special items, as you usually do in these fights.
What in the...
Gasp! Who could have seen this coming? Detailing more than just magic rites, but also the blood magic, evil blood magic. So this guy was just making them for the sake of making them? Gasp. But not giving him enough information to actually use him himself. Gideon was just here as a pawn because there's still 2 more chapters to go.
Aha! Are you okay? Excuse me.
Once again, am I playing Final Fantasy IX again? where every other part of the plot is eschewed for you know, Zidane hitting on people or not hitting on people enough, so the NPCs have to encourage him to do so.
Now then. The truth is,
What was that?
Well, yeah, I'd say.
thusly,
Considering your plan up to this point was, maybe a person I worked with before knew something about this, and then you just kind of find like a guy who has a copy of it in town. One would say this is the best possible lead that you could have, aside from just finding the book itself.
indeed.
That's right. Next time, we're going to be going to the bookmaker town. This game has that sort of theming for the areas around here. There's one that's like the arena town, one that's like the actor town, so on and so forth.
Aha!
Yes, it's as if it came from the bookbinding town.
Which means that
And that's going to be the next chapter, needless to say.
yes.
I see.
Okay, and tries to find some money, as she does. Does that? It's always kind of silly that, you know, especially after like a big cutscene, that you just kind of get, Tressa found some money on the ground. Robbed a corpse while you weren't looking. Yeah, she was just kind of sitting outside of the house the entire time because, as you know, the party members don't appear in the cutscenes. Rifling through
I am,
pockets.
but not a moment longer. Thank you for everything, Odette. I am in your debt.
You helped out a little here. What say we call it even? Be safe, Cyrus. I have a hunch you're poking around in something far more sinister than either of us can imagine.
I am well aware of the danger. I will exercise due caution.
Due caution? I'll believe it once you quit diving headfirst into whatever you think smells of mystery.
A man cannot so easily change his God's-given disposition.
You said it was 15 years ago that the tome was stolen.
That I did. What of it?
As you may recall, the then headmaster of the academy died under mysterious circumstances that very same year.
And you believe the two incidents are connected somehow?
No, I just like spouting valedictory trivia. But now that you mention it, the disorder following the incident would offer a convenient opportunity to misappropriate an article from the archives, wouldn't you say?
Your insight is invaluable and appreciated. I will keep this in mind.
I mean it, Cyrus. Be careful out there.
I will. And I'll return as soon as I get to the bottom of this. You have my word.
I'll be waiting with bells on.
And let's hear some travel banter before ending the episode. For Chapter 3. In the mountain area. The other mountain area. Yes, I mean, I think that seems clear since the first chapter. Go to the next chapter. That said, at least these guys know about it, which is not always the case in a lot of other games. Especially seeing that that sort of cutscene happen pretty much constantly. So yeah, much like I was saying, down here, same basic area. Over to Stone Guard, asking you to be level 40, but of course, I already have that all prepped up. But that will be next time.